All right, guys, doing a video here talking about the most exciting fighters in the UFC of the ESPN era, right? I'm going to be talking about who's the most exciting fighters, the top 10. Okay, before I start, can you please like and subscribe to this channel? Subscribe to this channel, like this video. Greatly appreciated. I would like to have more than four subscribers. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get to it. Most exciting fighters of the ESPN era. Let's start with honorable mentions, right? You have Korean Zombie, great fighter, multiple wins. You have to understand the Yair Rodriguez elbow that he hit on Korean Zombie was not on ESPN. It was on Fox. So that one didn't count. But Korean Zombie had countless memories as a fighter, beating Renato Moicano in the first round, losing to Max Holloway via KO, Volkanovski via KO. He's had very good fights. Rodriguez Duplessis, monster, right? Very fun and entertaining fighter to watch when he's either beating Darren Till badly or he's beating Robert Whitaker via TKO or beating Israel Adesanya via sub. He is doing his thing, and it's very exciting and very fun and entertaining to watch. Johnny Walker, very entertaining fighter to watch. He should be probably in the top 10, but the problem is he doesn't fight for any stakes besides the rankings, right? No number one contendership, no title fights. So I can't really put him above these other guys. Next is Dan Hooker. Again, very exciting fighter, but never been in a title fight. So I can't really put him over these other guys that have been there and done that. He's a very entertaining fighter, and you have to respect it. And Max Holloway, you got to put here as well, but he's not a top 10 most exciting fighter because he lacks power, even though it's fun to watch sometimes. But I went to a UFC where on International Fight Week where Volkanovski and him fought for the third time, and that was really boring. And I went to Gaethje versus Max Holloway at UFC 300, and that fight was very boring until the end. And that's just the truth. Maybe it's not his fault and it's Justin Gaethje's fault, but the truth is Max Holloway, he's had some duds, so I cannot put him over these guys. Let's start with Khamzat Chimaev. We know he just had a dud versus Dricus Duplessis, but that fight was extremely hyped, and I know every single person watched it. It was really big in Chicago. That's what you He won his first title there. That's what you want, right? How about when he beat Robert Whitaker, right? When he beat Robert Whitaker, when he beat a sub, everybody heard about it. It was crazy. It was entertaining. It was very fun to watch. He took down Robert Whitaker, mauled him, broke his jaw, broke his face. That is entertaining. Gilbert Burns win via unanimous decision. Very entertaining fight. One of the best fights of the year in 2022 or 2023, whenever it took place. It was very exciting where Khamzat faced adversity, got knocked down. Then he came back in the third round, won the third round after winning the first round and losing the second, 29-28. Great job by Chimaev in that fight. The Kamaru Usman one, he showed his levels there, right? He's in the first round, he took his back, body triangle, flattened out Kamaru Usman. Who does that to Kamaru Usman? Only Khamzat Chimaev. He is that good at grappling. That was a very exciting fight. Jiang Lang Lee, when he beat him, the Leech, right? He beat him via sub. He carried him to his corner to Dana White. Say, hey, Dana, and talking shit to Dana White. That was entertaining. Very good fight. And Gerald Meerschaert, when people thought, oh, this might be a step up for him, was Gerald Meerschaert. He smoked Gerald Meerschaert. And in hindsight, it wasn't really that big of a step up or a step up at all. But at the time, everybody was like, oh, this is a big test. He's a UFC veteran, Gerald Meerschaert. And it was a very exciting fight. So he's number 10. At number 9 is Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal, you have to remember, he had a time and place where he was a big, maybe not a big pay-per-view star, but a very big name in the UFC space, right? In the MMA world. And when he beat Nate Diaz, they sold out Madison Square Garden for that card. Nate Diaz and Masvidal with a fake BMF belt, which didn't have any value at all, especially at that time versus the company. They just wanted a belt to be a headliner, so it looks good at Madison Square Garden. And they had a very good fight, entertaining fight where Masvidal outskilled Nate Diaz, beat him up, then Nate Diaz had scar tissue. I think Masvidal landed an elbow that opened it up, and Nate Diaz, they had to call it off, doctor stoppage. Well, he won via TKO. The Ben Askren KO, crazy. It was everywhere, went viral. That's where he got huge. He took Ben Askren's O from him. Ben Askren was undefeated, highly, highly touted, not prospect, but highly, highly touted fighter coming in from another organization that won, former one champion, former Bellator champion, came in, took all of that spotlight from Ben Askren, KO'd him in 5 seconds, fastest KO in UFC history. That was very entertaining on the pay-per-view. I think it was John Joe Santos pay-per-view on International Fight Week. It was a very, very entertaining fight, very, very entertaining lead up to the fight where they were talking shit with each other. It was a great job by Masvidal. He stole all Ben Askren's clout, and that's what happened. Kamaru Usman lost via KO against he's lost to Kamaru Usman via KO. Great, great, great entertaining fight at the time. Even when he fought him in Abu Dhabi or Fight Island at the time, he came in on like 10 days notice and showed up out of shape and put up a 5-round effort, even though Usman was being very boring. Darren Till, when he finally came back from that like Mexican show, we were doing reality TV. He comes back to beat Darren Till in England, knocks him out. Scousers don't get knocked out besides Darren Till, and he knocked Darren Till out, and it was a great, great, great comeback for him into contention of the welterweight rankings, right? And then Colby Covington, I mean, that was just bad blood, but it was an entertaining fight. I was there at that fight. It was very entertaining, even though Colby Covington dominated and wet blanketed him. It was a very entertaining fight, so I can't put it past Masvidal. He's a very entertaining fighter, and he had that 3-year gap, 3-year tenure where he was the guy in the UFC when Conor McGregor wasn't there anymore. Next is Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje is a very, very exciting fighter, right? Him versus Oliveira might be the best round one in MMA history just because of the knockdowns from both sides. Oliveira getting that submission. It was beautiful to watch. Michael Chandler and Gaethje at Madison Square Garden. That win was amazing too. Michael Chandler rocked him first in the first round, tried to take him down in the third round or second round. He couldn't. Gaethje wobbled him in the second round with an uppercut, dropped him with an uppercut. Then third round, Michael Chandler lost, and it was a 2-1 decision for Gaethje. It was a very entertaining fight. Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. In that first round, I think one judge gave Gaethje that first round. It was a very entertaining fight. Gaethje has no grappling, and that was his downfall. That was his demise. But Khabib was showing his levels, and it was entertaining. It's always entertaining to watch Khabib fight. It's always entertaining watching Gaethje fight. The lightweight division at this time was at its peak. It was amazing to watch, and that's what you like to see. Tony Ferguson versus Gaethje, the first fight back from COVID, right? It was the COVID from February. I think Charles Oliveira versus Kevin Lee was the last fight before the COVID outbreak in the UFC where they paused all events. And then 2 months later, they came back and Khabib was supposed to fight Tony Ferguson. Khabib couldn't make it via visa issues because he went back to Russia. So Gaethje stepped in on short notice and beat Tony Ferguson's ass. And it was a great, great fight, especially with no sound from the fans. You just hear all the leather being hit on Tony Ferguson's face. It was gruesome to hear. That was a very entertaining fight. Him versus Edson Barboza, fight night main event. Knocked out Edson Barboza with a check hook. Beautiful, very exciting fighter between two very, very good leg kickers. It was hyped at the time. That was a great fight. So Gaethje belongs at number 8. He's a very, very good fighter, very entertaining. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, guys. I'm really tired. All right. 7 is Conor McGregor. People will probably shit on this pick, but Conor McGregor is the top 5 most exciting fighters in MMA history. It's not close. When Conor McGregor fights, everybody watches. They don't watch him because he talks a lot of shit. They watch him because he's exciting. He's fun to watch. That 1-2 is lethal, right? His combinations, his striking is beautiful to watch. It's so fluid. Everything about him was fluid at the time. His most exciting fight was Dustin Poirier third fight. Even though he broke his leg, that fight was super hyped on International Fight Week. It was amazing to watch, even though he lost and broke his leg. It happens. Not really, but it happens to him and Weidman and Anderson Silva. But Dustin Poirier in that fight was super hyped. Very good combinations being thrown in the first 2 minutes by both fighters. Dustin Poirier wobbled him with an uppercut. Not wobbled him, but made him concerned while Conor McGregor shot in to the clinch to close distance and it was a great fight. Donald Cerrone win via TKO when he came back finally after the Khabib loss. He took 2 years off, came back, or a year and a half off, came back, fought Donald Cerrone. Everybody thought Donald Cerrone was going to win that fight for some reason. Dan Bilzerian, but like 200K allegedly on Donald Cerrone, lost in 40 seconds. Everybody was like, what is this shoulder strike? What is this shoulder strike that he's doing? We've never seen it before. It's innovative. I guess he's the only one that can throw with that much torque, because I've never seen anyone throw a shoulder strike that hard like Conor McGregor did versus Donald Cerrone. The second fight with Dustin Poirier was very entertaining as well. I think that was the best performance McGregor's had in a fight. I mean, his boxing was so crisp in that first round. I think that was the best Conor McGregor I've ever seen. I think he was just too patient when he was hurting Dustin Poirier. Didn't put the juice on him when he was when Poirier was hurt, and Poirier was like, okay, if you're going to give me time to recover, I'll take the recovery. I'll chop you down with some leg kicks and calf kicks, and then I'll counter your 1-2 with a check hook. And he finally got caught and he got KO'd. But that was a very, very entertaining fight. You cannot disagree with that. McGregor is one of the most entertaining fighters in MMA history, and his 3 fights in the ESPN shows how good he is. And I put him in the top 7, while other fighters have 30 fights and I don't even rank them, right? Next is Ilia Topuria. What an exciting fighter Ilia Topuria is, right? Charles Oliveira KO is his best, most entertaining fight. I was on the edge of my seat watching it. I literally couldn't believe it. I didn't want either fighter to lose, really, because I kind of like both of these guys. I'm not a fan, but I like both of these guys. I like both of their styles. I think they're the 2 most skilled fighters in 2 of the most skilled. They're 2 of like top 5 skilled fighters in the world. Balancing mixed martial arts, and I think both of them are that good. Charles Oliveira, got knocked out. Topuria, I mean, what did he do? He got taken down by Charles. He swept Charles. Ended up on top. Crucifixed him. Like, this is like he showed levels in that fight. Countered him with a nice 2 after parrying the hook by Oliveira. It was beautiful to watch. That fight was amazing. Alexander Volkanovski, his KO win against him. No one was he would win. I took him to win. I thought he was better. He was way faster. I knew the speed would be an issue for Volkanovski. And Topuria touched that chin, made him go sleep. And it was an entertaining performance by both fighters. You know, the Volkanovski, was he too old? Is he coming back too early? All this stuff. Topuria said, I don't care. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to knock him out, and it's okay. He's still a legend, but I am better than him right now at the moment. Max Holloway KO. That was an amazing fight too, because everybody thought, can Max Holloway's chin be finally cracked? And it did get cracked. And his chin honestly doesn't look the same, because Dustin Poirier wobbled him and knocked him down. His Ilia Topuria's combinations are insane. He's a very, very, very good boxer. Him and Conor are the 2 best boxers in MMA. That's how good they are. Actually, and Max Holloway as well. But Ilia Topuria showed that his power, his torque with his hips, the way he throws his punches, or the way he changes levels when he throws punches, it's just beautiful to watch. The way he implements the body and throws 5-piece combos, beautiful to watch. That's how good Ilia Topuria is. Ryan Hall TKO. Topuria was only a -190 favorite for Ryan Hall in this fight. And Ryan Hall was rolling for Imanari rules the whole fight. It was entertaining because people were wanting to see Ryan Hall finally fight. He was out for a while. Everybody considered him a prospect. Everybody likes watching him fight. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a big-time jiu-jitsu guy. And Ilia Topuria knocked him out via ground and pound. Bryce Mitchell win via sub. Both guys were undefeated, I believe, at the time. I think Bryce Mitchell was undefeated as well at this time. And Ilia Topuria put it on him, submitted Bryce Mitchell, who was known as the submission guy in the division as the grappler. And people forgot Ilia Topuria was also a really good grappler, and head and arm choked him. And that's how good Topuria is, right? But these 3 wins right here are legendary wins that will always be on his resume and will always have him in top 10 discussions of MMA GOATs, right? Next is Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is extremely exciting, right? His first fight versus Charles Oliveira was absolute fireworks. I mean, that fight was mentally insane. I was losing my mind watching that fight. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler rocked him. I thought he had him out. Michael Chandler was a plus 140 dog. I was like, damn, is he going to win? Everybody chanting USA in the crowd between the first round and second round. 10 seconds in the second round, They both exchange each other. Oliveira lands a hook, a check hook, drops Chandler. Chandler runs across the cage, trying to get his bearings back. Checks hooked again, falls down, fight over. Charles Oliveira beats him, but Michael Chandler is very exciting. Tony Ferguson, that front kick was crazy. Tony Ferguson rocked him in the first round. I mean, he is what Dana White said. He is the MMA Arturo Gatti. He will just always be in entertaining fights. That's how good of a fighter he is. I don't know about that, but that's how good of an entertainer he is. He's a very good entertainer. Tony Ferguson, he beat him via front kick. That was nice. The Justin Gaethje, like I talked about, versus him in Madison Square Garden. Very entertaining fight where it goes back and forth. He won the first round. Gaethje won the last two. Very entertaining fight. His first debut in the UFC, or his only debut in the UFC, against Dan Hooker on the McGregor card versus Poirier. That was a very entertaining fight. Everybody want to see how Bellator champion Michael Chandler shows up and how he shows out. And he beat Dan Hooker in the first round, knocked him out. And then his loss to Dustin Poirier, I think again in Madison Square Garden. That was a very entertaining fight. And Dustin Poirier lost that first round, got rocked in that first round, and Michael Chandler tried to took him down in the second round, won the second round as well. I thought Chandler was up 2-0 at the time, but I think some judges had it 1-1, but I thought he was up 2-0, and Poirier came back and hit them with a sub rear naked choke. Chandler's never been submitted in his life or in his career, and he finally got submitted by Dustin Poirier. Great fight. And speaking of the devil, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because Dustin Poirier, maybe he's not as good as the rest of these fighters, but he is a very, very entertaining fighter. I mean, you need to look at this resume. Benoit Saint Denis fight versus Poirier was the craziest fight I've ever seen in my life, right? That fight was in Miami. I think Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera were the headliner, and they were the co-main. That fight was insane, where Benoit Saint Denis took Poirier's back, flattened him out. I thought he was going to choke him out. He was a favorite. Poirier was a big underdog, plus 160 or something like that. Poirier then check hooks him. Benoit Saint Denis gets flatline KO'd. Beautiful to watch. The next is Charles Oliveira fight in December. I was at this fight as well. I've been to a lot of Charles Oliveira fights. Charles Oliveira versus Poirier. What a great fight. I mean, Charles Oliveira got rocked in the first round. Poirier thought he was going to win the championship. He even said it. He goes, I think I'm going to win the championship. I think I'm going to be the lightweight champion. And Oliveira made adjustments, took his back in the third round, I believe, and then submitted him. What a great win by Oliveira right there. He knocked out Conor McGregor twice, right? I mean, one was via leg break, but the other one, very entertaining fight. I mean, I talked about how good of an entertainer Conor McGregor is, and that's the reason why people want to watch him fight. So these guys are just that entertaining, and Poirier is very, very entertaining. And his win via Michael Chandler sub was an amazing win as well. And then that Dan Hooker, if you want to watch a crazy, violent fight, watch Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier at the Apex. No crowd, no fans, just pure violence. John Anik said it best. He goes, "This is a great fight unless you like defense," and that's what it was. No defense being played in that fight. Both guys just standing toe to toe, banging it out. No homo. It was beautiful to watch. Next is Alex Pereira at number 3. He has a great resume, man. I mean, you don't even need to put the Magomed Ankalaev fights on here yet. You don't even need to put him on here. You can put Jiri Prochazka. He knocked him out twice, right? Twice. Once with hammer fist, one with a head kick. Beautiful, right? The stare down, amazing. Pure cinema, right? Israel Adesanya KOs him, being down 3-1 on the scorecard in Madison Square Garden. KOs him, goes up 3-0 or 4-0 in the I think it was 3-0. Goes up 3-0 on the score sheet where he puts up 3-0 when he knocks out Israel Adesanya, between them in fighting in kickboxing and MMA. The Khalil Roundtree win in Utah, right in Salt Lake City, was crazy. Alex Pereira wasn't really throwing a lot of volume. He fought in Utah already. He fought versus Jan Blachowicz, where they both blew their load and were very sloppy. That was a bad fight. But against Khalil Roundtree, he let Khalil Roundtree blow his load. No homo. Gas out. And then he finally went to work and KO'd Khalil Roundtree and entered a flow state where like he was just making Khalil Roundtree look silly, knocked him out with a body shot. It was amazing to see. Then the Jamal Hill win, the TKO UFC 300. I was there again. That was a great fight to watch. Alex Pereira knocks out Jamal Hill, where he tells Herb Dean, you don't need to step in, whoever the referee was, don't step in. Let me KO him real quick, and then you can step in 2 seconds. KOs him with a hammer fist, or TKOs him with hammer fist. Israel Adesanya lost in Miami. It was a great fight. He was winning the fight until he wasn't. Got caught with a overhand, and Israel Adesanya had a nice punch. And nice game plan, I guess, because he said it was a game plan to play rope-a-dope when everybody thought he was hurt. I think he was hurt, but great. Pereira is one of the most exciting fighters ever, right? Not even a question, not a debate. 2 is Jiri Prochazka, right? You cannot argue Jiri Prochazka is number 2. I mean, look at that fight against Khalil Roundtree. I mean, I had Jiri Prochazka. He was like minus 170. I was like sick. I was sick to my stomach. I was like, bro, please win. He was plus 500 entering the 3rd round. I was like, please win. He's gassed. Roundtree's gassed. Do something. Yuri slipping all over the place, then tries to throw some flying knees, uppercuts, elbows, check hook, knocks him down, flat out cold. Beautiful by Yuri, KOs him. The Alex Pereira, two fights with him, obviously very entertaining. The Jamal Hill fight, extremely entertaining. Jamal Hill wins the 2nd round after Yuri wins the 1st round. Then it's 1-1. Who's going to win when Jamal Hill had all the momentum heading to the 3rd after securing the 2nd. Excuse me, I just burped. Then Jamal Hill lost that fight because he got TKO'd. Overthrew a cross where Yuri slipped it, threw a 2, banged a 2, fell down, knocked down, hammer fist. That's what he does. And then Glover Teixeira versus Yuri fight, back and forth. Glover Teixeira up 3-1. What a comeback by Yuri. Chokes him out. Chokes out the BJJ guy of the light heavyweight division. The Dominic Reyes spinning elbow, insane. If you didn't watch that fight, watch that fight. Dominic Reyes is beating Yuri's ass in the 1st round, and Yuri comes back to win it in the 3rd, I think, or late 2nd. I don't remember, but it was one of those. And Dominic Reyes hasn't been the same since, and that's how good Yuri is. Yuri is just an amazing fighter. He's just that damn good, right? And number 1 is Charles Oliveira. This is not an argument. He's the most entertaining fighter ever in MMA history. Not even close. There's no argument. Maybe him and Conor McGregor, you can argue, but he is the most entertaining fighter in MMA history. Edge of your seat violence, right? Him and Justin Gaethje, best round, one of the best rounds in MMA history. You have to understand that. One of the best rounds in MMA history. Back and forth, knockdown, wobbled. He knocked him down, submitted him. Fight over. Beautiful. Ilia Topuria lost. That was a very entertaining fight when it was happening. Ilia Topuria got cracked with an elbow by Charles right away in the beginning of the fight. Dustin Poirier win in December in Vegas. He submitted him. We already talked about it. Michael Chandler win via TKO. We talked about it already in Houston, where he check hooked them in the 2nd round. Islam Makhachev, he lost Islam, but that fight was super, super hyped. There's other fights that no one talks about, like Jared Gordon when he beat him, Kevin Lee when he beat him right before the pandemic break off between the UFC from having crowds and no crowds, or they had no crowd in that fight actually either. But that fight was crazy. Kevin Lee, a Tamor fight was crazy. He has a lot of entertaining fights on ESPN. He is the best, most entertaining fighter in the ESPN era. It's not close. It's not up to debate. His legendary run at lightweight was, you just had to be there, right? Like when people say you got to be there for Conor McGregor, you had to be there for Charles Oliveira. I mean, this guy was legit, getting tattoos out the woozah. You know, every single time he fights, there's another tattoo on him. He's just spending his money on tattoos and his family. And you got to love it. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you.